I have to start by saying that this isn't your typical TEDx talk. There's no walls, there's no big stage, there's no big black letters behind me. So you could say that we're breaking the mold of what a typical TEDx talk looks like. And to be honest, just me, you, nature, okay, and a couple of curious birds flying around, which I hope it's birds and not bats, is the only way I would like to have this talk. Why? Because nature is the ultimate teacher about what internal alignment means. The trees know when to grow, how to grow, and where to grow, minus the expectations of other people. And this is what today is about. I'm not here to inform you. I'm here to transform something in you. And hopefully help you break a couple of molds, also known as societal conditioning. Now, with this in mind, sorry to do this, I have to start with some bad news. And this is that maybe you have been doing things the wrong way. First of all, if you have been defining your identity by an adult checklist that someone else wrote, not that great. I need to be a sales director by the age of 35. I need to make X amount of money in order to be successful. I need to drive this car in order to prove that I've made it. Need. You've been doing life wrong if your values are standards that other people have put on you. Family, loyalty, faith, success, other people's needs of what these words mean. And lastly, if you have been making decisions solely on the need of external validation and solely on the need of gathering information, you might have been doing things the wrong way. And you notice that I've used the word need quite a bit, and on purpose. Need, need, need. Not want, need. And whose need is it really? Because the price that we pay when we live with someone else's needs is misalignment, is feeling lost, and is burnout. It is that you will wake up one day and you'll be living a life that was built for you, not by you. Today, we're going to talk about the cognitive power of values. And in order for me to do that, I'm going to take you into a ring. I used to be a Muay Thai athlete, and this was one of my first fights. So I'm going to use the power of imagination to demonstrate a little bit deeper what values mean. I would like you to take a deep breath in. And out. One more in. Out, and close your eyes. Great. We're going to use all your senses. So first up, I want you to hear the noise outside the ring, the people yelling. I want you to smell the leather of your gloves that are guarding your face. I want you to taste the silicone from the mouth guard in your mouth. And I want you to feel the sweat dripping down your forehead. With your beautiful imagination, I want you to look at your opponent across you. They're tired. They have blood on their face. It's been a good fight. Your heart is pounding, and you know this is the last round, so you know that there's still not much longer left. And suddenly, your opponent strikes. You duck, and you punch back. Boom! You've got them. And it's a good one. You know it's a knockdown because you can see them getting dizzy, and whoa, you're stepping back. And in that second, the voices flood in. Not the voices from the crowd, but the internal voices in your head. The ones that start saying, go for the knockout, hit again, strike, send them to the ground, be the winner, be ruthless, get the win, go to the championship, get it done. And there's one voice that pulls you back. The voice of your coach in your corner who says, pull back, stand your ground. Remember. You pull back, you stand your ground, and you remember. The referee jumps in these few seconds. He counts down to see if your opponent can continue. 1, 2, 3, done, finished. The judges release their score. The crowd goes crazy. And you lost. Plot twist. I'd like to invite you back by opening your eyes. Probably not what you expected, but there is a lesson here. I could have won that fight with just one extra punch, but I would have sent my opponent to the hospital. And that is not what I signed up for when I started to train with Muay Thai. I lost the fight, but I won something more important. I beat the social conditioning and the expectation of other people and what other people maybe would have done. The reason why, remember my coach, remember, because I remembered my values. I was not there to humiliate. I was there to win with integrity. I showed respect to my opponent and to the game. And I embodied trust to the person that I chose to be in my corner and have my back. Now, probably most of you are not having these type of fights every single day and are not in rings every single day, even though I know Monday morning meetings might feel that way, or when you're fighting with your spouse, who's gonna wash the dishes? I know. But I want to talk about the deeper internal fights. And the deeper internal fights are things like decisions, conflicts, and all the version of yourself that you need to step out of. It could be procrastination. These are all internal conflicts. And when these moments arise, where do you operate from? Do you operate from the opinions of others? The social conditioning that we talked about? Do you operate from emotions like fear or sadness? Or do you operate from habit? Because that's how I've always done things. When I stepped into that ring, I knew who I was. I had trained for quite a bit. But more importantly, I knew who I wasn't willing to become in order to win that fight. So 90% of the decisions that you make are aligned with your values, are made from your values. If you don't know your values, what kind of decisions are you making? Because the truth is that social conditioning is very strong. People tell you, you're the hardworking one, you're the husband material, you're the one who never complains, you're the one who always complains. You're the good girl, you're the fighter, you're the ruthless person. You get it all done no matter what. Oof, you get nothing done no matter what. These are all the titles, social conditioning. And your values, knowing your values is the key to crack that open and to remember who you were before all that noise came flooding in. If you're still not convinced, I'm going to talk about science. Don't worry, I'm not going to go in great detail about all the research out there, even though I would love to. But there are so many researchers from Stanford to Damasio to Sweller, through psychology, neuroscience, behavioral theory. They all say one thing. among others. Your brain is wired to thrive when you break out of misaligned molds. So knowing your values isn't just another fluffy coaching tool, it is strategy. When we look into cognition, cognitive load theory tells us that your brain has limited capacity. So when your values and your actions are misaligned, your brain burns extra energy trying to close that gap. It's exhausting. Now, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. I want you to be brutally honest with yourself. No judgment here. No judgment. Show of hands, who here feels like they're very tired and exhausted quite often, and honestly, don't really know why? Great. Maybe, just maybe, you might be carrying someone else's values. Second up, we're going to talk about identity. Self-determination theory teaches us that this is who you are. Self-determination theory teaches us that when your actions and your values are aligned, you become one person and you build consistency. You're one person in the office, one person with your friends, one person with your family, one person with your spouse, and that is powerful. You don't need to wear masks. Here's my second question to you. Who here feels that depending on who they are with, a mentor, a teacher, a spouse, a boss, family, can be tricky sometimes, they feel that they need to be slightly different and have different types of conversations? Even more hands. Amazing. These are called masks. Once you align with your personal values, guess what happens? Next up, we're going to talk about neuroplasticity, and that's how you grow. Your brain rewires itself through repetitive patterns. Neural pathways are strengthened every time you operate from your values. And these neural pathways, this is a Stanford University research, these neural pathways are tied to clarity, to confidence, and to self-trust. And last but not least, we're going to talk about resilience. So resilience is how you manage. So when we look at about how you manage, this is a research that was also done that people who align with their values have lower cortisol levels, especially when you're going into a stressful situation. So here's my question to you. First question on neuroplasticity. Who here feels that they have a conflict, an argument, or a little bit of a stressful situation that might not be going your way? You have the conversation, only to go back, you lie in bed, you wake up. That's what I should have said. Show of hands. Quite a few. And my second question on resilience is, who here faces decision paralysis when you're under a stressful situation and you feel that maybe ChatGPT can give me the answers, maybe I need to crowdsource, maybe I need to ask someone else? Yeah, people are laughing. Show of hands. No judgment. No judgment. We all do it. Right. So, by now, it's about questioning the mold. We don't need to break all molds. Some molds are there to protect us. So I'm hoping that by now, most people are like, okay, but how do we do it? Like, what is the secret sauce? Probably the easiest self-growth, personal development exercise you'll ever do. First up, go to Google. Easy? Easy. Download a personal value sheet, PDF, anything that has above 60 values, you're good to go. Once you do that, identify your top 5 values. You can do it alone, but I really suggest that you do it with a friend who will constructively challenge you. Could be a spouse, a friend, a colleague, a family member, whoever you want. Don't just identify your 5 values, write them on a piece of paper, and that's it. Journal on them. Go deep. Where did it come from? What does it mean? Then align. Next time you have a challenging situation and you're not really sure what the answer is, or maybe you're procrastinating on something, or a relationship is not going the way that you want, look at that piece of paper and you'll see that the answer is a lot more obvious than what you think. And last, Repeat, 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 until you never have to look at that sheet again. Now, I started with the bad news. Here's the good news. You can't break the mold. You can break the mold, and you can have the aligned way of doing life. What that looks like when identity becomes about self-authorship. You get to write your story with the details exactly like you want it. If you never want to be a sales director, never be a sales director. If money is not the measurement that you're going to use to measure success, you go for it. When you start redefining your values based on what you have inside of you and how you want to redefine them, things start changing. If family for you doesn't necessarily mean a husband, a wife, and 2 kids, and a mortgage, but it means a wife, and 9 cats, go for that by all means. Faith, loyalty, whatever it might be. Redefine what these mean for you. And last but not least, decisions. You have this compass inside of you that is your values. When you start using that to help you make these decisions, you start moving more from I need to I want. Because the world doesn't need more high performers running on empty batteries. The world wants leaders who are aligned, who are grounded, and who dare to do things differently. And the best news? You already have all that inside of you. The only thing that you need to do is stop molding yourself into someone else's mold. Exactly like the nature around us and the trees. They know exactly how to grow, minus the checklist of other people. Thank you very much.